Hi there, yeah. This video is called Allow Yourself to Be Happy um, and Taking on the Weight of the World, basically. I wanted to kind of discuss about this kind of idea that I think a lot of people suffer from actually, which is that everyone in life tends to be on a path where they're trying to find their own happiness and things, and sometimes, well most of the time, things can get in the way for a lot of people. And I think in a lot of people's minds there's this kind of, in a sense, guilt that they don't deserve to be happy, or they don't feel they have the right to be happy because ever happened in the family, or events at school, or growing up, or things as an adult as well, can lead us to believe that we don't really have the right to be happy. And so which also leads me on to the idea of this idea of kind of like taking on the weight of the world. It's as if, like, you know, people in our life who have been really down, or the bad things that happen in the world, and all there's so many things on this planet, in human society, that we can be really kind of upset about, and not allow ourselves to be happy, because we're always, a lot of people, concerned. And I've had it a lot in my life, where I've not allowed myself to feel happiness, or feel that I deserve something good in my life, there because of the suffering in the world. Like, for example, so people in other countries in really severe poverty, animal abuse, with factory farming and other things, um, the state of the planet, the way the human race are treating the planet, and how climate change is happening and things. Well, that's debatable, but in my belief it's definitely happening. And whether or not the climate is changing, we should respect our resources, and respect the air, and respect the planet, and its creatures anyway. But that's my feeling. But yeah, so we can always, in our heads, we can always have this kind of idea that we don't really, we don't deserve to be happy. We're not allowed, in a way. And I think sometimes that um, many people can many people can get confused in this idea that, in a sense, it's sometimes selfish to be happy, or it's selfish to seek your own happiness. And this is something I've definitely struggled with a lot over the years. Um, you know, I think there's a big difference between being selfish and, being happy. I think happiness. There's a famous quote. I think it was one from a Taoist sage, saying, "The greatest wisdom there is to allow yourself to be happy." And I've heard that people say, the earth and other people and its creatures, the animals, the planet, the earth, it 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 thrives on and resonates well with happiness and joy and emotions of light emotions, and happiness is that kind of, is that energy of kind of joy and happiness and freedom and liberty and acceptance and uplifting emotions. And I think that, when I've been at my happiest in my life, and the buzz I've got from other people, and from, the energy of the earth and things, has really been, it's powerful stuff. I think we all need to take a certain amount of seriousness in life. I think that's vitally important. I think we do have to be serious on many levels about, the impact we have on other people, and the planet and its creatures. And I think we need to be serious about ourselves at times. But with that seriousness, I think we need to develop and maintain, a sense of lightheartedness and happiness. So yeah, that's basically what I want to talk about. And just kind of like, this sense of, like, because I mean, for me, for many years, over the last, say, 2 years, I've kind of not allowed myself to just rest at home and look after myself and work on my own happiness. I've been so kind of like in my head, kind of like filled with this sense of um, almost like shared karma or something, from society, and the wider public, and the sense I get from the government that we all have this kind of duty bound to be responsible for for other people and things. And I've got into this attitude where I was almost kind of being activity-aholic, workaholic in my own sense, always doing lots of voluntary work, always helping people whenever I could, um, you know, doing things so much that I was kind of bringing myself to exhaustion, like over a long period of time. And I think a lot of it stemmed from this sense that I didn't have the right to, look after myself. And I do want to be part of the world, I do want to help, but this kind of sense of not really deserving to be happy, I suppose, in a way. And it's like I've had other friends as well who've really suffered with this issue, where they've really felt, because of the suffering in factory farming, because of the suffering, the, the say the unjust treatment of women in certain parts of this country, stuff like child labour in other countries, start poverty in other countries, and the environmental disasters, and the environmental hazards that the human race and companies are putting onto the planet, that he never allowed himself to hardly even ever smile, or he wouldn't never go to a party, he wouldn't let himself kind of lighten up and have joy, because in his head all this time he'd have all this bad stuff going on. He'd focus always on the bad stuff in the world and life. And I just, I think it's really people who tend to have who extend their care and have a big heart, and think of the bigger picture a lot of the time about planet and the human race and things. I think people like that can really be get into this trap where they almost sometimes always focus on those bad things. And I think it's really important, that we are aware of these things. We are aware of, what's happening to the planet, what happens in factory farming, what happens to people, human rights issues and things, and you know that's a whole diverse area in all those fields of what happens with those subjects and things. So I think we can get stuck in a mindset where we're only ever focusing on those things, but we really need to realise that we are this individual with this body, with our own personal issues, our own personal life, and sometimes you just need to not forget those things, but you need to focus on your own life and have a certain amount of acceptance. I think what really helps me at times is the kind of belief that whatever happens now on this planet, whether the earth explodes or whether it dies in a horrible way or whatever, which I doubt will happen, which I really don't think will anyway, I do have this sense at times that everything will be okay, that the universe, the mind, the one of the universe, will it will kind of fulfill itself and become justified again, in a sense that, like, what goes from the source returns back to the source. And I think that's a really good thing that's helped me over the years, really thinking that. But sometimes it's just really hard to apply to my own personal life, and I think that sense is a very positive feeling to have, that everything will be okay no matter what happens, sort of thing, that whatever hardships we're put against, whatever problems any of us face, that we will be okay. And as a soul, as individuals, as an individual soul, even what happens to our bodies, it 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 won't ultimately affect our soul, who we are as souls. And so on that level, we're beyond the physical plane on many respects. And I think that's something as well that I've kind of relearned again over the last year, about feeling that whatever happens in my life or other people's lives, the sadness, the tragedy, and the good times and all the great things that happen, really, each of us as individuals, the animals and all life, there's a great aspect of them which is beyond these physical appearances and these physical shells, as people like to call it. And I think it's a good thing to remember that our state of mind and the sense of who we are as a soul is always more important than what's going on in physical reality. That's how I feel. But yeah, so what I'm basically saying is, I think we have to, or I need to try to for myself, and I think it'll help other people if we try not to take on the weight of the world. Do what you can when you can, but if there's nothing you can do, stay mindful, but remember you need to focus on your own happiness and your own life as well, you know, because I think I've met many people in activism, like animal rights activism, mental health activism, um, human rights and stuff like that, campaigning for certain issues around the country and things. And I think they can get quite easily in this sense of focusing on all the problems and really wanting to change everything. And it's got to change. You know, when you learn about something really bad that happens, you do really want to change it and try and do something about it. And I think that's a very positive, proactive attitude to have, and a realistic one. I think we should all try and act and do what we can on what we feels right to. But really, in the end of the day, we need to also focus on our own lives and our own happiness, and sometimes let go of things that we cannot do much about. And so yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. I think we've got to let ourselves be happy and focus on our lives when we need to, and do what we can about the bigger issues when we can. And yeah, so I'd just like to say, I think taking on the weight of the world, I think we need to sometimes realise what's on our own shoulders, and do things about bigger issues when we can. Okay, well thanks for watching. Love and peace.